Good morning, everybody. We're live here from the birdhouse. We are getting towards the end of August, so we've got an update for you on some of the different birds people are seeing in the area, as well as some of the other creatures people have spotted this past week. As always, if you're on, you can say hi in the comments. If you have any questions, you can throw those in there too. And we absolutely love to always know what kind of things you're seeing in your area, whether it be upstate New York or elsewhere. I know there's some of you watching from all over the place. So we love to hear what kind of things you guys are seeing out there in your yards as well. First of all, in backyards right now, don't be surprised if you're seeing some bald birds or bald-ish birds. Sometimes they're not completely bald, but looking very sparse as far as feathers go in their head. Super common this time of the year. Some birds like cardinals and blue jays are known to molt all the feathers in their heads at once, which can look very alarming and very strange, but it's totally natural, and it does happen, especially this time of the year. Every once in a while, it can be due to something like mites, but usually, especially if it's just in the head, it's going to be just a natural part of their molting process. So we've seen and heard quite a few reports about this kind of a thing over the past few weeks. So it's totally normal. You might see it in your backyard throughout the summer. So just something to be aware of. Also, Orioles. Some people are getting some Orioles in their yards. Some people are seeing more Orioles than they have over the past several weeks. It's not very surprising. They are getting ready to migrate and go back down south for the fall and winter. And so don't be surprised if you start seeing them coming back to your Oriole feeders, coming back for some jelly. And if you've taken your feeders down, you might see them hopping around in the area where your feeder was. You can always put your feeders back out because they will be here usually through the end of the month. Even through September, people will have reports of Orioles, but they're getting ready to go back down south. Same with hummingbirds, but hummingbirds will stick around for a little bit longer than the Orioles. But just like the Orioles, we've been getting more and more reports of hummingbirds coming to bird feeders over the past few weeks. So if you haven't had good luck with hummingbirds in your backyard all season, now is probably going to be your best bet of seeing them this year, because they are, again, fueling up for that migration to go back down south. And they're seen in the area through the month of September easily. There'll be sightings, but usually they start to fizzle after Labor Day or so. Lots of Carolina wrens out there. I was awoken this morning by a very, very loud house wren, but I've been hearing both house wrens and Carolina wrens singing their hearts out almost every morning. So there's a lot of them out. And another thing to be aware of in your backyard, if you have a bird bath, is take a look and make sure it is getting emptied and refilled fairly often, because if not, if you've got these little squiggly things in your bird bath like this, what these are mosquito larvae, and it doesn't take very long at all for the mosquitoes to find some standing water. They'll lay their eggs in that water, and then out will come the mosquitoes ultimately. But you can eliminate this by changing the water out every day, or you can get things that are called water wigglers, which are little propellers, battery operated propellers that'll move the water. That will break up the surface tension so mosquitoes can't lay their eggs in your bird bath. Or you can get those solar fountain inserts with the solar panels on the top of them that power a pump. When the sun hits that solar panel, it'll create a fountain effect in your bird bath. So that also breaks up the surface tension, so these mosquito larvae can't survive in the bird bath. So something to be on the lookout for this time of the year. Lots of mosquitoes have been out there. So if you see these little squiggly things in your bird bath, that is mosquito larvae. Monarch butterflies, we're getting reports of monarch butterflies. And right about now is when we have the 4th generation of the monarchs starting to develop as far as the caterpillars go. If you find any caterpillars in your yard or any eggs, those are going to be from the 4th generation or the migratory population of the monarch butterflies, which will fly back down south to Mexico. And this picture was sent in of a couple monarch butterflies mating. This was sent in by Kate. Also have a beautiful picture here of a monarch butterfly on what's called Rocky Mountain blazing star. Really, really pretty photo there of the monarch on a blazing star. And this was sent in by Randy. And this blazing star is probably more common out west. It's native out west. We have a blazing star here that is native to eastern US. So you might have a plant that looks very, very similar to this in your yard. I know I do. I've got the liatris, the native liatris, the native blazing star in my front and backyards, and the butterflies absolutely love it. And this is another version of it here. Really pretty plant there. So be on the lookout for the different caterpillars, the different sizes of caterpillars from the monarch butterfly, because they are out there right now chomping away on milkweed plants. So you might happen upon them in your garden or out hiking, like this picture that was sent in by Patty of a monarch butterfly caterpillar that she found at Mendon Ponds Park. Some other creatures that are out there right now, these photos here were sent in by Walter of a little baby snapping turtle. It must have just hatched. The adult female will lay her eggs in the ground, so usually not too far away from some kind of water, and sometimes it's in gardens, sometimes it's in a sandy kind of soil. But once those eggs hatch, out will crawl the snapping turtles, and then they'll look for a source of water. So you might see some little snappers walking around this time of the year as they look for a little place to call home. So this is a tiny little snapping turtle, not super ferocious yet until they get larger. And speaking of creatures you might see, here is a really funny photo sent in by Mary, who says, we just happened to catch this raccoon that has been emptying our metal feeder every night. We've since put up a larger baffle with more success at keeping this marauder at bay. Yeah, it looks like that baffle is kind of on the small side. We get those questions all the time about squirrel baffles or raccoon baffles that you put on poles. They're quite large, and people always ask if there's anything smaller that they can put on their pole. Usually not, because the baffle does need to be large enough to keep things like squirrels and also larger raccoons off of the feeder. So a really funny photo there of a raccoon being quite nimble on the bird feeder, which is a squirrel-proof bird feeder, but not raccoon-proof. Another photo sent in here. It looks like a red-tailed hawk, a juvenile red-tailed hawk, sent in by Erica, who snapped this picture here. It looks like it's a juvenile with a striped tail. And then another bird of prey. This is a video of an osprey sent in by Walter, and out right in the city on the Genesee River. You can hear the call of it a little bit here. So that is an osprey. I'll play it again because you can hear the call from it a little bit in the background there. And this is right over by, if you're in the Rochester area, right over by the Blue Cross Arena, by the waterfall over there. So osprey also migrate. So don't be surprised if you start to see some movement of osprey. If you see them flying by your house, you never know, because they do migrate and they will go south for the winter. They love being by the water because they eat fish. That is, they're a bird of prey that eats exclusively fish. So you'll find them by water almost always, unless they're just passing through. And here's another video showing some of the behavior of the osprey, showing it hover. Really cool video. So right there in the middle of the city, right on the river, there was an osprey. This is a photo that I snapped on the side of the road last weekend. I was driving and saw a group of turkey, both the adults and juveniles, and I was able to pull over and snap a really blurry photo here of one of the babies. That's in the foreground. The adults are kind of starting to run away here. So there was a group of about 4 adults and then probably about 7 juveniles or so, and they all scattered really, really quickly. So I didn't get a very good photo of it, but you can see there's the little baby turkey there. So I thought I'd show that. But probably the most interesting sighting we've had locally over the past week are wood storks. Wood storks tend to be more of a southern bird, but there have been 5 spotted here in the Rochester area, which was really exciting. I believe they started around the 18th or so, or at least that's the last time we saw the group. The group of 5 was reported, but this one here, a single wood stork, has been reported over the past few days. The last sighting of it was on the 21st, but it might still be around. And here are the spots where the wood storks have been sighted locally. So if you live in a different area, you might have wood storks as well, just obviously on a different map. This is a map from eBird, which I just went to the Explorer feature and typed in wood stork, and I zoomed in on sightings in my area for this year. And the group of 5 was seen in the Braddock Bay area, so right along the lakeshore, and they were last spotted on the 18th. But the single wood stork that I just had the photo of was last spotted on the 21st, and that was more inland in the Greece area. So keep your eye out if you're by any kind of open water. Look for the wood storks. This one was spotted on a little stream. So they have been seen around here. There were some at Montezuma, I want to say a couple years ago or so, that have also been seen locally. So you never know, especially during migration time, what kind of things you will start to see. If you are out birding, you might see some of these guys here. Mark sent in a whole bunch of photos from his birding adventures. Here is a Caspian tern over at the east spit of Braddock Bay with that bright, bright orange bill. So there's a lot of gulls out there right now, but if you see something with a bright orange bill like this, it's most likely going to be a Caspian tern, would be a tern of some kind. Great blue heron, lots of them around, still out hunting the fish and frogs and things in ponds and streams. And then there's also green herons, which are significantly smaller than the great blue herons, but they can be found in the same kind of habitats by any kind of water. And here's some photos here of a green heron over at the Erie Canal Widewater, again sent in by Mark. And then here's a juvenile green heron, very, very cute with crazy feathers on its head, very striped. This is the juvenile of the green heron, really fun. Sandhill cranes, especially if you are out in the Montezuma area, there's sandhill cranes out there. And here is a group of a sandhill crane family with the baby, also known as the colt, on the left, sent in by Mark. And great egrets, a lot of great egrets passing through in Montezuma. About 300 were spotted the other day, just in one small area. So lots of them are migrating through. I've seen them out on the Genesee River. There's quite a few great egrets. So didn't used to be a bird that we would see around here, but especially in the fall as they migrate, we do see them in the area. Another bird that you could find on the water, this is an American coot, another photo sent in by Mark, and juvenile bald eagles that don't have that bright white head yet or bright white tail, but you can find them by open water. They're becoming more and more common. So if you see a really big bird of prey with those bright yellow feet, it's not going to be a turkey vulture. That is a bald eagle, and this is a juvenile here, and another juvenile bald eagle photo there. And here is a picture of what's called a glossy ibis. This is on the right-hand side, hanging out with some mallards. Another picture sent in by Mark. The glossy ibis has a very long, what's called decurved bill. It curves down. And in the sunlight, they're very reflective. They've got this kind of greenish, purplish plumage that's really, really pretty. And that's what gives them their name, the glossy ibis. Here is a little juvenile pied-billed grebe, still with its stripes. Another photo sent in by Mark. And another bird that is in that heron family. This is a bittern, and this is called a least bittern. Another photo from Montezuma. Here is that juvenile pied-billed grebe again. More egrets. And then there is an osprey. That's a great place to go if you're looking for bald eagle and looking for osprey. Montezuma is a fabulous place to go. Irondequoit Bay is always great to find birds like that as well. And here is a juvenile gallinule, another photo sent in by Mark of the Montezuma area. So that is everything I have for you guys today. Thank you everybody who sent in your pictures to share. If you are in the Rochester area this weekend, we do have our jigsaw puzzle swap that goes on all weekend long. You can bring in your old jigsaw puzzles and exchange them for some that are new to you. That's been very, very popular. We do that the last full weekend of every month, and this is the last full weekend of August. And so today is the beginning of Jigsaw Puzzle Swap, and that goes through 5 p.m. tomorrow, which is Sunday. Looks like there's not many comments, just Randy Zahn says good morning to everybody. That is everything we have prepared for you guys. We'll be back with another broadcast on Tuesday, and until then, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.